All right. Welcome, everyone. Happy Friday. Thanks for jumping on and hanging out with Nikki and I today on this most wonderful topic that she's going to be sharing her beautiful wisdom with us. And yeah, I just know that Nikki's a very wonderful and magical woman, and I'm really excited to hear what she has to share with us. I am Jenny Griffith, for those of you who don't know me, who are new around here. I am an Ayurvedic practitioner and holistic health coach, and I put together this program, the Ayurvedic Evolve Life Mastery Program, and we have bonus speakers every month. And so Nikki is the featured speaker today. So she's going to be sharing her knowledge and she has an invitation at the end, I think, for whatever comes up for, whatever she's feeling today. And so we definitely want to leave some room for questions as well. The call will be 75 minutes, so we'll be done at 11:15. If you need to leave, that's totally fine. And we will record it and send it off to you as well, so everyone has this magical information. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just allow Nikki to be the host here. So just give us a moment.
Perfect.
All right. We're all set.
Got it.
All you, my dear.
Amazing. Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Nikki. I'm also an Ayurvedic practitioner. I'm a natural builder and an eco artist. This building I'm in right now is actually all made out of earth and material. It's really beautiful here. And so, yeah, like Jenny shared, I'm going to talk about cleansing through the Ayurvedic lens and weave in a few different things of just the really changed my life and have been like little nuggets of wisdom that seem so simple, yet when we implement them, they're like so significant. And I'm really fascinated by the simplicity and kind of the subtleness of our health and how we can really tune into the subtle to have more greater significant results. So that's what I'm going to be sharing a little bit about today. So first, I would love for all of us to just come into our body and just drop in and open for a moment. So I invite everyone to close your eyes. You can put a hand on your heart or down by your side. And just allow yourself to fully come in and be present with this moment. Be present with this breath, this oxygen that's coming in through your nose, penetrating throughout your entire being. And track that carbon dioxide as it leaves your body. Giving yourself permission to fully be here, to let anything else that your day entails to just set aside for a moment and really give yourself the gift to receive what's here. Thank you, everybody. You can come back into this space. I'm going to do a little bit of a screen share here. Let's see. Start screen share. Desktop. Share. Let's see. Oh. Of your screen. Okay, hold on. Until it is quit. It says that I can't share the screen. Let's see. There we go. All right. Let's see. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah? Okay. Amazing. All right. Thumbs up, everyone can see this? Yay. Okay, beautiful. All right, so we are here talking about Ayurvedic cleansing. And so just an overview for everyone of the layout of this talk. So I'm going to go over cleansing through the lens of Ayurveda and really what that looks like and what are some main pillars of viewing our health and cleansing. And then I'm going to go over 5 tenets of health. And these have been huge anchor points for me personally moving through. And then a little bit about know thyself and really how we can connect to our body and how we can listen to our body and let our being be the driving force of what we need. And then going over dinacharya, which is daily ritual, daily routine. All right. So in the lens of Ayurveda, cleansing is really about illuminating the body's intelligence and the body's ability to heal itself. It's really coming inward and realizing that our body is able to detoxify and cleanse itself. And if we listen closely enough, with the help of herbs and different practices, our body is really able to do everything by itself. We just have to support it. And we're in a time in the world where we have a lot of exterior materials and things coming into our body. So we just have to be extra mindful, really. And in Ayurveda, the idea is that a cleanse can be really a 24-hour period. It can be a 21-day period, whatever it is. Our body's in one cycle of 24 hours. Our body's already detoxing and doing the thing, right? And so really it's we create the cleanse. And we'll go over that when I go over through the section of know thyself, is really like, why are we cleansing? How do we want to cleanse? And really creating our own unique practice for ourselves, right? Because I was in the juice world for a long time, juice cleansing. I did that for a few years and I just realized it wasn't for me. I wasn't feeling really good in my body. And I see that works really well for other people. And for me, it's like, I need physical food in my body and all these things. So really adapting to what we need. And then minimizing potential toxins that we take in. And it might be as simple as like products that we use on our skin, eliminating those. And it goes far beyond that. In Ayurveda, we really look at all of our senses. So what's coming into our ears, what's coming into our nose, and looking at all of those things that we take in through the day. What are we looking at? If we're watching the news of like really horrible things and listening, that can be toxic things coming into our bodies. So just really shaping and shifting our life to be more sattvic, to be more pure and light and clear as well. And Ayurveda really looks at cleansing to reboot the digestive system. And so the goal here is really just to give our body space to do its thing. And a few of you in Jenny's program, I don't know how, Jenny, are people cleansing right now through your program? You're on mute.
Yes, they're actually eating khichdi right now.
Amazing. Perfect.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are in the program, I'm also, I'm on day 23 of khichdi cleanse as well. And so, yeah, a few of you that are in the program, you might start to see like you're eating, your body's full, but the mono diet really allows the body to do its thing. It's like if we don't eat dinner, we give our body a break to like digest and excrete everything it needs to do. So really here, the focus is just listening to our body and then balancing it in ways. And I'm going to give you some little tricks and tips to do those. And really, the difference in Ayurveda and Western medicine, and I just want to share that I really believe in both Western and Eastern medicine. But Western really looks at cleanses as like carbohydrates, fats, proteins, all these categories, where Ayurveda looks at like, how does the food affect the quality of our mind, the quality of our senses, right? Like it goes deeper than that. And that's really what I love, is because I've done the thing of like tracking my carbs and fats, and it's like I feel more stressed out. It's like it feels so superficial to me. So really why I think all of us are here is we're willing and wanting to dive deeper. Um, and the cleansing through Ayurveda, the Khichdi cleanse, is really for all doshas, and it's low cost. Like I've been on Khichdi for 23 days and I've spent probably like $20-$30 on groceries. I feel, it's also like a really good way to reboot your bank account. It's like really beautiful in all of its ways. And there's no one size fits all. Like it's for all doshas, and also we can go deeper of like what's unique to you and adjust it that way. um, so the concepts of health, I really love to share this because the WHO defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And Ayurveda um, says that one who is established in self, who has balanced doshas corresponding to one's individual constitution, balanced digestive fire, properly formed and functioning body tissues, proper elimination, one's whose mind, spirit, and senses are full of bliss, is called a healthy person. And so really what I love about this is that the WHO kind of puts, like, yeah, physical, mental, social well-being, these are all part of it. And that's healthy, absence of disease, where Ayurveda is like, we are meant to be in a state of bliss. We are meant to be thriving. And to me, that's like life force. And that's really what drew me to Ayurveda, is following, like, I want to be thriving. I just don't want to be absence of disease. I want to be like fully functioning and supported in my body. And so really Ayurveda looking at the soul, the mind, the senses, and the body. And that's the totality of life. And modern science kind of lacks this comprehensive understanding of like the soul and what that can do when we connect to the soul and the health of our being. Um, and really, when there's an imbalance in my lens, when there's an imbalance in our body, it's usually imbalance or a disconnection between the subjective non-physical and the objective and the physical realms, right? And so something with our physical environment, the physical food that's going into our system, something is not in balance with our energetic, our non-subjective, non-physical sense of being. And so looking into that more. And really Ayurveda's gift is that when we cleanse, it brings the sattvic mind and it removes tamas, which is like cloudiness. When we have tamas in our body, we're unable to make clear choices, right? Like I might be like, ooh, I kind of want ice cream for breakfast, and like if I have a lot of tamas in my mind, I might be like, screw it, I'm gonna do it, But if I'm in this like 23 days in Khichdi cleanse, I'm like realizing more like that's not good for my body and I don't want to make that choice, and that clearness to make choices is really what Ayurveda's gift is to bring that sense of clarity through us and discernment and discipline. It becomes so much more fluid when we bring more sattvic, pure, life-giving qualities into our life. Those decisions become much easier and much clearer too. Okay, so the 5 tenets of health. These I got from my mentor, Claudia Welch. I don't know if anyone is familiar with her. She does a lot with balancing hormones and is also an Ayurvedic practitioner and Chinese medicine as well. So nourishment is really looking at how we nourish not only the quality of our food, of our drinks, of whatever we're taking in, but nourishment through our 5 senses, and really looking throughout our day of reflection. And sometimes I'll do this planning my day of just like, how am I going to nourish my senses, like all 6 senses? How am I going to do that today? And really inviting that into like a reflection for each of you is like, okay, my eyes, my sight, like how am I going to bring beauty into my perspective of the world? My sense of hearing and sound. What beautiful things am I going to listen to? Am I going to take time to go listen to the birds? And sometimes it takes, for me, especially when I get out of balance, it takes that extra step of like writing these things down and just being humble. Like, I need this structure in my life so that I clearly can see, like, okay, I didn't take time to have silence today, or whatever it is, to nourish my senses. Um, and then living in integrity is really just aligning our actions with our innermost essence, and really coming to that place, like living in integrity, when we can be like, this is my truth. The When I speak truth, like all the cells in my body are like dancing. They're like, yeah, girl. And that, like, that is life, that is health, right? So when we can be in integrity in our truth and stand in that, it's amazing what can come through the body in that alone. And really living in integrity is like having the courage to stop doing the things that we know are bad for us as well. You know, for me, I used to love, and still do sometimes, eating really late, but I know that that's not good for my body, and it took a tremendous amount of courage just to be like, this is not in alignment with how I want to live my life, and like live from that place what I know is true. Um, and then stress management, which of course we're all familiar with this, but just like, how can we reduce stress and how can we bring more joy into our life? Something with stress management that's been really big for me is identifying, like, how can I reduce stress, right? And kind of focusing on that, and almost having blinders on of how I can reduce stress. And I think it's really important, as we release and detoxify anything from our body, is being clear of what we're bringing in. Because as we, okay, can I reduce to get stress out of my body? Maybe that's being on my phone way too much. It takes up too much time. Okay, I'm releasing that, but what am I bringing in? Like, what can like, how can I increase joy in my life? And so finding that balance of stress management, identifying the things that bring us stress and what can we bring in? Um, and being real with ourselves if we're getting enough time to rest and rejuvenate. A few days ago, I had a really potent call with a mentor of mine, and it took everything for me just to be like, I am stressed out. Like, though that sentence almost like couldn't leave my body, because there was just this ego thing of like, I can do it, I can manage all this stuff. But I had to be real with myself in that moment and be like, I am significantly stressed out, and that's okay, and just start from there. Um, and I want to share with everyone this 1 minute breath that I do often. And this is just something to come back to the body, and it's 1 minute. And so how it's going to work is you're just inhaling or just breathing through your nose. And so we're going to inhale through our nose for a count of 5, and exhale through the nose for a count of 5. And we'll do this 6 times, which is just 1 minute of your day. And so just inviting, whenever we have moments, even if I have tough conversations or I get flustered and like drop stuff in the kitchen, I just stop for 1 moment and do this breath. So inviting all of us to take time. So it's 5 seconds in through the nose and 5 seconds out. And we'll do it 6 times. If you just want to count the 5 seconds, I'll let you know when to stop. All right, so we can begin breathing in through the nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling through the nose for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling through the nose for 5. Exhaling through the nose for 5. Inhaling through the nose for 5. Exhaling through the nose for 5. Inhaling through the nose for 5. Exhaling through the nose for 5. Inhaling through the nose for 5. Exhaling through the nose for 5. Inhaling through the nose for 5. Exhaling through the nose for 5. Inhaling through the nose for 5. Exhaling through the nose for 5. And just taking a moment to observe your body, how you feel after this 1 minute out of your life. Maybe there's a sense of more space, a sense of calmness. This is a spark, and we can all come back into this space here if you feel. You can stay closed eyes if you want, but this experience that we feel in our body after just 1 minute of consciously breathing and slowing down is just a spark of sattva in our body. That kind of cloud starts to dissipate, and you're like, oh yeah, I can do life. I can do this, and that like re-spark. And so this 1 minute breath has been really significant for me. Okay, activity. This is really what I focus on activity is like, are we doing the right exercise and movement for our body and at the right time of day? I used to work out at like lunchtime and do like really like intense workouts. And I was so high pitta because I was working out heavily during pitta hour and already high pitta. I was having skin issues and all this stuff, right? And so it's really like, what activity are we doing and when are we doing it? And can we really listen to our body of what we need? I've spent most of my life feeling like I needed to do a hardcore workout to achieve the body goals or whatever I'm trying to achieve. And in this phase of my life, I've just been instructed to do, 20 sun salutations and stretch for an hour and a half. And that's my activity in this moment in my life. And I'm just humbling myself of like, wow, this is actually what my body needs, and I'm achieving the results I need by listening, and then minimizing harmful chemicals of just removing things out of our life that have toxins in it, which is a lot of things, unfortunately. Okay, so the path to healing is not linear and comes in many forms, unique to each person. And so really what I want to highlight here is I think it's common for people to see like health comes from eating really healthy and working out. Like there's these blinders that are like, okay, if I have a good diet and work out, then I will be healthy. And I really just want to plant the seed that this list of things right here are all opportunities for bringing radical health to the body, and just faith in a higher power, letting go of control, radical truth telling. You can see this when, if someone comes to their family being like, I am a lesbian, and telling that like radical truth telling of like, this is who I am, like the health that comes through the body, right? Like forgiveness. If there's someone in my life that I've just held on forever from high school that I don't even talk to, and one day I'm just like, I forgive you and I forgive myself. It's like, these are huge ways to bring health to the body, emotional processing, living our dreams and our passions. It's so beyond food and activity. And how I've come to this place is seeing that I've been on a health journey, and I'm sure many of us have for most of our life, and really focused on food and exercise. And when I was eating pristine for 6 to 10 years straight and working out every day and not getting healthy, I was like, there has to be something more to this. And realizing at that point, if we're eating really healthy and not getting healthy, it's probably something to do not with the food, right? And so for me, it was like my emotional processing of getting barriers down and talking with people, and that is really what's brought me health. So I just want to plant these seeds here for everyone, that it's beyond food and exercise. Okay, so why do we cleanse? And really, I would love to just open up the space for a little popcorn of just what's the reason you're here? Why, what does it mean to cleanse for you? If someone's like, hey, do you want to start a cleanse? Or if you get a spark, like, I think I need to start cleansing. Like, what does that mean to you? And so just opening up the space for anyone to share.
Hi. I know for me, I'll use an example. Yesterday I did my first enema. I've never done one before, and when I was going through it, getting rid of part, I was sitting there in the bathroom, and then it just all of a sudden hit me. It was like, Eric, you hold on to so much in your life. You have held on to. You hold on to your past. You hold on to past relationships, regrets, bitterness, anger, um, all those types of things, and as well as your limiting mindset. And I just told myself that, man, it's time to let go. It's time to let all this stuff go. And so the totality of this cleanse that I'm in is kind of representative of me starting the process of letting go of all these things that have held me back, that don't serve me. And so I'm beginning to experience the deeper meaning behind all of this. So.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Hey everyone. Eric, that was just really profound. That was really beautiful. For me, cleansing has always just kind of been a reset or a reconnect. I've done juice cleanses in the past. This is the first time I've done like a whole body cleanse, and I can just really feel this huge shift. Actually, just within the past 24 hours, actually. Things are starting to be a lot more clear, and I can actually hear my heart again, which has just been really, really powerful for me. So it's always just been a really great reset. That's what cleansing has always been for me. And I agree, it's just like this way of letting go. I listened to this meditation this morning that was talking about how the ocean comes in and just takes away the things that no longer serve you. And it just was really powerful. So I'm just really enjoying cleansing, and this is a really, really great information. So thanks for sharing, definitely.
Thank you. We'll do one more share, who's ever feeling it.
Okay, I'm here. So I find that when I'm cleansing, it's usually because I am using like food or alcohol or whatever to avoid something. And it's like I need to look at something that I'm just like, oh, I need a snack. I'll go avoid that thought or that feeling that came up. So it's a time to really like process and see what's going on. So when I do kitchery or fasts, it's like all the emotions come up and everything else when you can't look away from it. So yeah, it's like time to level up almost and really get real about all the other things that are going on. So yeah.
Wow, thank you for sharing. That really resonates with me. And I feel similar things of why I cleanse. It's like getting real with myself. Where I can speak for myself, I am very distracted in this modern age and time where, I do the same thing. I have an emotion come up or a stressor, and I'm like, I'm going to go get a snack, or I'm going to go cook food and just like forget about that. Right. And so, yeah, I love what everyone shared. Thank you so much for sharing. I really feel like when we can be in this space together and share like how we take care of our body, why we do it, we start to realize that we all function very similar, right? We all have these struggles of like addictions and patterns, that habitual patterns that just come up in our life. And we're like, oh my gosh, I am drinking wine every single night, or whatever it is. And we have these realizations. And when we come in these spaces together is where we can really feel held and supported and like, oh, you're human too? Like, cool, and just humble ourselves in that. And so really like cleansing is an attempt to digest all of life and really, yeah, I think I forget who, hold on. Jenna, you shared, it's just like taking the space to digest fully all that's happening in your life, like giving yourself a mini retreat to just reflect, which is so beautiful. Oh. Okay, so these are, okay, perfect. Okay, so 4 things that are kind of pillars for me in cleansing is what we eat, how we eat, simple herbal support, and daily seasonal rituals. And really, the what we eat, the theory behind, okay, the what we eat. So we're all here talking Ayurveda, right? Jenny is an Ayurvedic practitioner leading you through khichdi and all these things. And really what we eat, it's not the Eastern food or the food that comes from India what does it. It's the theory behind the food preparation that does it. And that's really the juice behind Ayurveda is, yes, the khichdi, there's components of those foods that are really good for our body. And it's also, Ayurveda really focuses on the food preparation of it, right? And how we eat, and allowing ourselves to really follow that bite of food into our body, right? Like when we eat the first bite, this is a practice for me. The first bite that I take, put the bite in my mouth, put the fork down, the plate down, whatever it is, and just follow that bite all the way through my system, and just really give myself just a moment of like recalibrating how I eat, because when I'm unbalanced, how I'm eating is in front of the computer, I'm like trying to multitask and feel like I'm doing the thing. So really it's consciously transforming that food within our body and seeing the power that we have in our own being to do that, really, and bring health that way. Okay, so really knowing thyself. And this is a really humbling practice of identifying patterns in ourselves. And for me, when I cleanse, is something before I cleanse is kind of, I'll talk about the different stages, but kind of the preparatory stage is, for me, is sitting down and like identifying patterns that I now see in my life. A huge one for me is eating while I'm working, because I feel like I'm being more productive, and just really taking time to write down these patterns. And then taking a moment just to look at those patterns on the piece of paper, and realize like how long, reflect how long have I been doing this for? And maybe there's like moments of celebration, like I used to drink wine every night and now I only drink it 3 times a night. And like, hell yeah, let's celebrate that, like I'm interrupting these patterns that have been following me and integrated in me for so long. And so just the process of identifying patterns and really being thorough with that identification as well, to look at these things. And then identifying our responses. And this is a big one, going back to what Jenna said, if you have an emotion come up and then you go get a snack, it's like that's the response that we have to the emotion, right? And so it's kind of, you can have 2 columns if you write this down, like what the patterns are and then what your response is to that pattern. So if I eat late at night, my response to that pattern is feeling like pretty low about myself in the morning and heavy, and like to get started in the day, it's hard. So my response is like, is just looking at that, is really looking at how we respond to these things. And maybe even, how we respond. Let's say I get stressed. I want to distract myself, so I go make a snack. That's my response. And then beyond that, what would be my ideal response to that emotion or trigger that's coming up? And maybe that seems far-fetched for this moment, like when I get stressed out, I want to take 10 minutes and journal about that. And maybe in my life that seems so out of context and unable to achieve, but it's having that goal of our response can be so significant. Something to look towards, like for me, setting goals has been a really hard thing in my life. I feel like I don't need it, and that is not accurate. So I'm really focusing on this point of my life of like setting a goal for myself, an attainable goal, and also a goal that's like leveling me up. I love that, Jenna, that you shared. And yeah, just witnessing what arises, how we respond to that, and our responsibility in our response. And really looking at, being in this body, we have a responsibility to respond to our body and to life itself. Like just being here on this planet, in this plane, in this body, like we have a responsibility to listen to our body and to show up for the world, right? And so what's our response to that? What's our response for being here in this body and on this planet? So these are some questions, and really it's funny, Jen, that you said like taking it to the next level, because that's something that when I reflected, is like that's something I feel when I cleanse, is like, how can I take my body to the next level? Like, okay, I'm here and I'm ready to go to a higher state, whatever that is. And really identifying like, what does that look like to you? Like, what does that mean? What does that feel like getting to the next level, like cleansing to feel light and happy in your body, or whatever it is. Like, what does that actually mean to you? What does that look like to you? What does that feel like to you? And if you want, feel free to like screenshot this. I can also send you guys the presentation, but you can screenshot these questions, and just taking a look at these of like, what's your inner story when you're eating? Are you eating and being like, this probably isn't the thing, I don't know how to feed myself, like what's the story that's been in your mind? How can you tell when your body's hungry? And for me, this question has been like, I don't really know that feeling anymore. Like when I get to the point where I need to cleanse, I don't know the feeling of my body being hungry, because I'm always snacking or eating or distracting myself. So that's a big thing for me in cleansing, is like remembering like my hunger cues. And what does that mean? So cleansing, in Kitchery, which maybe some of you can relate who are cleansing right now, is like, if you're hungry and you don't want Kitchery, but all you're eating is Kitchery, it's like, okay, I'm not going to eat then. And I'm like, oh, I'm actually not even hungry. So it's really identifying what are those hunger cues. And why do you eat when you're not hungry? And I think just looking at this in ourselves of, why do we, and how often do we overeat? Why do we overeat? These seem like really simple questions, yet this is like the subtleness that I'm talking about. This is the subtleness, yet really significant, right? And for me, these are hard questions to look at. I almost don't want to answer them. But some of them is like, how did you come to the current diet you're in? And like, that's that moment of celebration, of reflecting of how we've come. And I think everyone here has come to this moment in time because we're listening to our body. And that's so beautiful. So yeah, I want to open up for anyone, if any of these questions resonate with you or feel alive for you, if anyone wants to share a little bit, whether it's what your inner story is of eating, why you overeat, whatever it is. If anyone feels called to share, we can do a little popcorn style again.
Hi. I was just thinking, like, it just came to me right now when you were talking about it. But I feel like I overeat all the time, and I eat late and lots of sweets and stuff. And it's because I love food so much, but it also feels like because I love all this food, like I'm not loving my body or not loving myself as much as this food, maybe. I don't know.
Love that. Do you feel complete, Sarah? Thank you for sharing. Don't be shy. Well, y'all are thinking I can piggyback off of Sarah really quick of overeating. So feel you. And that is one of my biggest things is overeating. And I love what you just shared that really resonated with me is like my love for food outweighs my love for my body. Like that is so significant. That sentence in itself, like, wow, so powerful. Thank you for sharing. And I can share like my journey with overeating is that I don't allow myself to be fully present with what's happening. I'm like so like in awe and bliss of the pleasure of the good food that I like forget to be here and now. You know, it's like the bowl's done and I'm like, wait, how many bites did I have? You know, it's like, did we actually track that process? And mostly when I overeat, it's like I'm trying to get to the finish line, which is the empty bowl, and not even enjoy the journey, right? So it's when I go through waves of overeating, it's beyond the food. Again, how we were sharing, it's beyond the food. It's what in my life am I not being present with? What in my life am I trying to just get to the finish line and, you know, and get like a second serving before I even like sit and actually look at myself of like how I'm taking on that quest. And so it's wild how these little questions can really be a reflection for our life. And that's what I love about Ayurveda cleansing is how we shared. It's more than the food, it's emotional processing and all these things that we can look at. I think we'll do one more share if anyone's feeling like this is the time to get these words off your chest. How about how you can tell when your body's hungry? Does anyone want to share anything on that?
Yeah, usually starting to feel a little bit drained, and there's that just feeling in my stomach that it's been empty for a while, and I'm starting to get cravings, starting to think more about food.
Thank you for sharing. So beautiful to, you know, those are your anchor points then. Like how can you tell when your body's hungry, right? Like that absence of food in the belly, maybe starting to think about food and realizing those are some pillars for you when checking in, you know, when we go get a snack or we eat. It's like, are we actually hungry? What are the cues? Am I actually experiencing an emptiness in my stomach? You know, have I eaten in the last 3 hours? Like I'm probably not fully hungry, you know, unless it was a small snack or whatever it is, but identifying those truly. Okay. So Dinacharya, which I'm sure those in Jenny's program have heard about this and maybe others have, but these are just daily rituals. And really this goes back to, you know, we can cleanse and do a full body cleanse and also remembering that every single day we are cleansing. In a 24-hour period, our body goes through this whole cycle of digesting the day and digesting the food, our emotions, everything we take in. And so like I shared before of Ayurveda and the lens of this is how can we fully support our body's natural intelligence and wisdom to digest and detoxify? And so this is just a photo of an example of an Ayurvedic clock. And this has helped me a lot to just realize, and then I know this probably seems like a lot of words and things. And for anyone who doesn't know, like Kapha, Pitta, Vata, these, just look on the outside circle. And we can start at 6 a.m. on the left side at dawn. You know, so you see exercise, eat lightly, elimination, prepare for the day. And just looking at this natural cycle of kind of when the best times are to do the things. You know, when we wake up, it might not be the best to like hop on the phone and make all the phone calls that we need to do, right? I think we all know, like if we wake up and we have a moment to breathe and be in our body and do whatever morning ritual we have, then we're able to take on the day, right? And so really realizing that like having conversations with the people that we need to is not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad habit. It's not like we shouldn't be doing that. It's all about when we do the things throughout the day and when we can naturally balance our body. So pitta, you know, high noon, you have lots of energy. That's when you organize and clean your space, right? That's maybe not the best time to sit in meditation because you have so much energy. So I think, you know, I've seen in my clients of people who are like, I just can't meditate. My sister will say this to me all the time, and she has the window because her kids are sleeping from like 10 a.m. to, or like 11 to 2, whatever it is. And she tries to meditate there. And she's like, I'm just not good at it, you know, or whatever her internal story is. And really just like, it's not that you're not good at it, you know, maybe just try a different time of day and how significant that can be, you know, and adjusting. This is also just like a light, like outline of what that could look like, you know? And so maybe when we do the certain things, when we meditate, we shift it around what works for us and realizing that. And you can play around, you know, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. When are you able to like fully sit down and meditate and maybe just do a little experiment on yourself? You know, I think it's common for, I read everywhere like meditate in the morning, right? And what if that doesn't work with your schedule in your life? You know, it's not like you can't meditate or that you're not good at it or whatever it is. It's like you just need to fit it in at another time. And when does that work best for you? And identifying that. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions on this? I know this photo is kind of a lot, but. Okay. And this is something that, you know, if diving deeper of when we don't have the capacity in this particular call, but this is something that you can work with an Ayurvedic practitioner to help you with this of like when to do the things and even when to take different herbs throughout the day, when to take your tinctures. That's something that I've been really focusing on is like what tinctures I'm taking and when should I take them, what they're good for and when, you know, because if we just take all of them in the morning, it's like, how am I balancing the kapha in the morning, right? Like looking at all these things. Okay, so 4 phases of cleansing. Okay, I'm realizing time, so I might have to talk a little bit faster. 4 phases of cleansing. So preparation, active cleansing, reintroduction, and rejuvenation. I think one of the most important things is realizing these 4 phases when we commit to cleansing. You know, if I'm having like people over and having all these sweets and stuff today, and I'm like, all right, tomorrow I'm cleansing, you know, and then I'm like, okay, I have 1 week and then I'm going to go on vacation. So I want to do it this week, right? To like be prepared for vacation. It's so much beyond that. You know, for me, really the reintroduction phase, I think is the most challenging because you've gone through a week or days or whatever it is of cleansing. And then you're like, all right, now I'm a free bird. I can eat whatever I want, you know, and you have to have discipline really in this. And I think I might have it on the next slide here too, but this is kind of like a little bit of a layout of, you know, if we're going to do cleansing for 3 days, we should really do 3 days of preparation, 3 days of reintroduction, and then focusing like a month long on rejuvenation of like, how are we building back up our body? And I love that because Ayurveda really focuses as we cleanse to nourish our tissues. That's something that I don't want to say it was a mistake. It was definitely a learning journey, but detoxing and cleansing for me was like everything detoxing, just like get it out. And I was depleting myself, depleting my tissues and all of this. So really the reintroduction and the rejuvenation is so important of what we put back in our body. Again, it's that like creating space and then like, what are we introducing back in to fill that space? If we detox and, you know, get all this stuff out and do enemas or whatever it is, it's like, what are we filling that space with? And that's the foundation, right? If we get off of our cleanse, it's like, all right, I am spending the next 3 to 5 days building a foundation for my future. You know, this is the leveling up aspect, is it's really building that foundation of like being real with ourselves of like, where do we want to start? Like now we've created space, like how do we want to level up? What's our foundation? And moving from there. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to say about this. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that for now. Okay, so when to cleanse and all of these things, and I'll make this quick, but just the harmony of timing of really listening to our bodies and also linking this into our exterior nature around us. And I've personally have lived in like eco villages and off-grid farms and all this for like the last 5 years. And so for me, I've really seen the significance of listening and mimicking nature, and letting her teach me. Like, you know, we feel this shift in seasons, right? Like we're about to come into spring. And so syncing up with her, you know, it's the same of like supporting our body to do what it naturally does. 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is pitta time. And that's when our body's detoxing, right? And so when we're sleeping from 10 p.m. 2 a.m., our body is doing the natural thing of detoxing and getting all the stuff out. But if we're up until 1 a.m. snacking and going to sleep, you know, at 1 a.m., we miss the window of our body to detox, right? And so, and it's obvious, it's okay. We're human life, you know, sometimes we stay up and do the things, but really realizing like, how can we support our body is like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Like let the body do its thing. That takes off so much more work from me of what I have to do when I'm awake and through the day, right? If I know that I've slept and let my body do its thing, like the next day is more easeful for me. And so, yeah, listening to the seasons. So really, season shifts and also the equinoxes are really significant times for cleansing. And then one thing I just want to share too is for any bleeding humans in this room, when we're on our menstrual cycle, this is a really significant thing to look at of when we plan a cleanse, because you don't want to be in the active phase of your cleansing when you're menstruating, because you're kind of setting yourself up for depletion, right? And so really looking at that and planning, this all comes down to planning and listening. Okay, I think we'll skip this. This really quick is a simple way of just like taste as being your compass. And so there's 6 tastes that Ayurveda looks at: pungent, bitter, astringent, sweet, sour, and salty. And when we're looking at our day of like balancing, cleansing, and building, which we generally want to be doing both throughout the day, is looking at what we're eating. You know, do we have foods that are pungent, bitter, and astringent? And also, are we nourishing our tissues with sweet, salty, and sour? And letting our taste, you know, once we cleanse, we revitalize our senses. We start to realize that like the bitterness is like we feel the cleansing habits of that, you know. And when we eat a date, we're like, ooh, this is like bringing some bliss, like sustenance in my body, right? And so finding balance of like our food throughout the day, what's cleansing and what's building, without getting too nitpicky, you know, but we can really start to see if like, are we having a balanced relationship with cleansing and building, which is what khichdi is, right? It's a balance of cleansing and building with the rice and the mung beans and the spices. Okay, so daily cleansing routine. So these are just some examples of what we can do, like really simple daily things to support our body. And, you know, cleansing, like I said, it can be a 1-day cleanse, and it doesn't have to be that you do a khichdi thing. But these are, you know, when we wake up, to drink warm water. And I think I should have put scrape tongue first, you know, but what we do in the morning. So when I wake up, I'll just share, I do sesame oil in my mouth. And I do that because I have excess vata right now. So, you know, usually you do coconut oil or whatever it is, but sesame is more warming. So that's what I'm using in this moment. So I'll do that, scrape my tongue, drink 16 ounces of warm water. As much warm water that you can get in your body before any food is really the juice. Because if you think that our body's digesting all night long, when we wake up, it's our job to support the process of getting that out, right? So scraping the tongue, your tongue creates all this bacteria on your mouth from sleeping. So if you wake up and just like drink water, all that bacteria that's sitting on your tongue is just going right back in, really. Where that coming out on your tongue was your body's natural way of like expelling those toxins, right? So me scraping the tongue is like, hey body, I see what you did all night and thank you, right? And this builds a relationship with my body when I scrape my tongue, even though I'm like wanting the muffin that my friend just made in the morning. It's like, hold on, I need 10 minutes to do these things before I put anything in my body. And having that discipline, right? And that's that radical truth telling of like, this is what I need for my body, and this is what I'm going to do. And so movement, breath, whatever is supportive for your morning. And then a huge thing for general, just like supporting daily cleanse, is proper food combinations. So that's going to be not eating fruit with grains. Pretty much fruit can only be with vegetables. If you're not familiar with food combinations, you could probably do a little researching. I'm happy to support and help in any way. This has been hands down one of the biggest changes in my life is food combinations. Even meats or proteins and carbs and starches, they shouldn't be put together because they rely on different enzymes in the body. This is all things that are like, what? Because we've been programmed and raised to eat a certain way. So it's so confusing and such a significant shift. So in this journey, please offer yourself compassion because we are learning in this and having to redo and recreate. And then eating in a calm state of mind is like one of my biggest pillars in life. Is like, even if I haven't eaten all day, but I'm stressed out, I might not eat until I'm able to like do that 1 minute breath or whatever it is. It's just like really being in a calm place. If I'm doing work on the computer that's stressing me out, I'm not going to eat while I'm doing that. You know, it's like having that discipline and checking in with the body. Like, are you calm? Are you ready to receive? It's consent, right? Like, how do we treat our friends? You know, if I go up and hug someone, I'm going to have consent first. Like, are you cool if I hug you? You know, get consent and then do the thing. So it's getting that consent with our own body is so important. And then also an opportunity to cleanse is just 1 24-hour fast a week. And really the juice window for me that I found is ending eating at 2 p.m. because then it's just 2 p.m. Like I can eat in the morning, have breakfast, lunch. 2 p.m. I stop eating, and then the next day at 2 p.m. I start eating. So however you want to do that, but a 24-hour cleanse a week is also really significant. Okay, yay, we have some time to share. Okay, so I would really love to just open this up, like any questions that you have, any insights that you gained, anything that really stood out to you. Yeah, this is the learning right here, is when we can all come together and share. So encouraging and also no pressure for anyone to share, but anything that's alive, any questions, the floor is yours.
I was wondering what I forget what you keep calling it, kitcha?
Oh, kitchery?
Kitchery, yeah, what is that?
Yeah, let's go back. Okay, beautiful.
Oh,
So kitchery is a combination of generally basmati rice and either mung beans or split peas. And so everyone that's in Jenny's course right now, and including myself, I've been only eating kitchery for 23 days. And you just eat kitchery for every single meal. And what this is, it's mono dieting. And so your body doesn't have to recalibrate all of the stuff that you put in, like the complexity of the meal. It's just simple, easy. And yeah, your body's like, okay, we know this. And it gives it more space to digest. And of course, you can switch up the grains and also add vegetables. And really the significance of this is that you're fully nourishing your body while you're cleansing.
mhm.
And it's also beautiful. It's self-discipline. For me, it's really, the cleansing is rebooting my self-discipline, because if I'm hungry, but I'm like, I don't want kitchery, then it's like, then I don't eat, you know? And it's like, and it's not that I'm starving myself, right? Because I'm having this at least 3 times a day. Um, but it's like that check-in. And if I'm like out on the road and I'm hungry, like usually I'd stop at the grocery store and grab a snack, whether it's healthy or not, like a banana or seaweed or whatever. It's like I'm only eating khichdi. And it's like I realized in that moment, like I didn't actually need a snack. I'm just like so habitual to be eating all the time, you know? And so this is khichdi, and you can add spices in relation to your current imbalance and whatever's there for you. So
Well,
yes,
thank you.
of course.
I wanted to share something that I thought was just so profound and so much bigger than, like you said, just like, you know, the food and just like staying super disciplined with that, but just the radical honesty that goes along with this kind of work. I know that some of the people in my group right now are experiencing a lot of emotions that are really magnified because they have this space that's really opened up during this process of cleansing, where they're, like you said, having to actually face some things that are happening. And so I just think that's so profound, that when you decide to cleanse, it's like a devotion. It's a deep level of devotion to the soul and to the people around you. And it's not easy sometimes to devote yourself to this work for 3 days, 5 days, 28 days, because it does affect other people. It's like, hey, no, I can't try your great cake that you just made. Or no, I'm not going to, you know, have a glass of wine with you at dinner tonight. And so it does create some emotionality with others. And so it's a little hard on the psyche to do this work. But that discipline comes from the word disciple. And what that is to follow yourself to the truest form of you. And so it's so profound how all this is so connected, that I loved the what you had there. It was like 10 things to ultimate health or something like that. And I loved the fact that you put in the radical honesty, and there's some other things that are more on like the therapeutical viewpoint. Here, forgiveness, living your own dreams and passions, right? There's so much more to this than just, you know, scraping your tongue, right? It's all connected, but these are real, tapping into these are something that you can, once you begin cleansing, you can tap into these things. It can be illuminated. These things can be illuminated for you. Whereas before we were just, you know, numbing out with the, you know, the whatever, chocolate or podcast or whatever. So yeah, I love this little slide specifically that you created. I think it's so beautiful, and it really shows how much bigger this is than, you know, the smaller parts of it, but it is all connected. So I just wanted to just highlight that specific slide. It's so powerful.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for that question.
Mm-hmm.
Something that came up for me in your share was, the emotional psyche challenge of cleansing. And it's been really big for me. Like I shared, I'm on day 23 of cleansing, and I also live in community, right? So I live with a lot of other people, and so it's been challenging and humbling of like realizing like I can't share dinner or like even sit with you guys while you eat dinner, because like what's going to come up in me. It's not that I'm afraid of it. It's just like right now in my journey, I need to eat dinner by myself with nature. You know, it's like she gets me right now, you know? But it's hard because we have to say no to people if they make something for us, you know, and say no or disappoint them, or also like for me, I have to like hobbit myself, you know, like when I cleanse, I really have to go inwards. And through this 23 days, I had a really profound experience that was really hard for me psychologically. It just like really brought up emotions that I just didn't know how to handle. And I spent 3 days in silence, you know, and it's that radical truth telling that actually came out for me in this journey of like telling everyone I live with, it's like, I can't eat dinner with you and I also can't talk to you, you know, and it's nothing personal. It's just like where I'm at. And really what Jenny said is like, we're doing this for ourselves, for our body, but also everyone else around us too, you know. And I think that that radical truth telling of the people that I've had to tell, like, I can't talk to you, this is what I'm doing, or I can't eat with you because of this, that radical truth telling has also sparked in them their truth. You know, they're like, oh wait, maybe I don't want to eat with everyone in this way too, you know, or whatever it is. And seeing how that has shifted things for us. For example, for me, haven't been eating with everyone I live with for this month pretty much, but I've been eating with the trees and with nature so much more, you know, and it's pushed me to have my meals by the tree, you know, or feel inspired to like take my bowl of food and walk outside and be like, where do I want to eat? You know, and just it allows me more space to be like, what do I want to do? What environment feels good for me to eat in? And that recalibration is like, you know, the space that I like to eat in 3 years ago is not the space that I like to eat in now. And so the cleanse, you know, Ayurveda looks at cleansing twice throughout the year as like these significant seasonal shifts, is that checking back in with the body is like, where are we at now in our life? Right? Like maybe last year I really loved eating with like as many people as possible, like biggest table Thanksgiving every day. And now I'm like, I literally just want to eat with the trees. And that's where I'm at right now in this journey. And it's not forever, right? It's just like, where are we at? And like finding that radical truth inside ourselves to really show up for ourselves and for everyone else around us. Because when we get through these cycles, it's, you know, once I end on 28 days and start my reintroduction phase, I can show up more fully for everyone else around me. And so that's really the beauty and the magic of it. Okay, I'm going to open up this space. I think we have 5 more minutes. Anyone else wants to share anything?
Yeah, just bouncing off that, the last time I did a Kitchery cleanse, I was on day 2 and I went ice skating with friends, and they decided to go to In-N-Out on the way home and waited like an hour and a half in line. And like, they were like, you don't mind, right? I was like, no, I'll just sit here. But there was like so much of me that was like, just go, you know, just like go and wait in the line and just like forget about it. But like when I got home that night, there was like so much empowerment of that I like didn't give in, and that I also didn't give in to like the feelings of like getting angry at them or like saying like how, because they didn't really understand. But I also felt like they learned so much from my dedication that they were like, oh well, like okay, I see like how dedicated you are, and like in some way inspired them, that like, and also that I wasn't angry at them for like doing it, that I could be like patient and just like understanding. So yeah, and I just want to say thank you too, because you myth busted a lot of things for me. I've been trying to do fasts and like thinking that the window could be from 2 p.m. like instead of spending a whole day, that makes my life so much easier. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have to just spend all day Friday. It could be a different 24-hour window, and sleep could be a big part of that, which makes a lot of sense. And the tongue scraping before you drink water, like that just makes so much sense, where I like reach for my water first thing. But like, yeah, so thank you. This was so helpful, and yeah, I really appreciate both of you for hosting this. So thanks.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for that share. And one thing I want to piggyback on what you shared, I love that your example with your friends, and also the I think really the significant thing that shown out to me was your patience and not getting angry or frustrated. Is like, this is the journey, this is the healing journey of our body, right? And I think it's also asking like what we need for support, right? Is like, you like, maybe you had that experience and you hang out with these people often and be like, okay, like this is what I need for support. Is like, we actually have to be able to communicate what we need, because it's like sitting in line and an in and out is like, while I'm cleansing, is like doesn't feel like the most supportive thing, right? So it's like realizing in ourselves, maybe in that moment when you got home, you're like, that didn't feel ideal, right? And then it's like realizing that pattern interrupt right there, right? Like that's the point. And then it's like, okay, what would actually be supportive, and how do I communicate that? Right? Because for me, it's like being in silence and not eating with the community. It's like I can't just be like, I'm not talking to you guys and not eating with you guys. See you guys in a month. Right? Like I have to communicate why and how that would look for them and how that would look for me. And it empowers me to like listen to my body, like, what do you need? You know? And I think also a thing that I've been practicing in this last month is, before I go to bed, is just like closing my eyes and putting my hand on my body anywhere and just being like, how are you doing? Like actually have a conversation, like, are you feeling okay? Like anything else I can do for you? Like I'm here devoted to you. And um seems crazy sometimes, but life's crazy, right? So we might as well just follow that thread. So yeah, the listening, so beautiful. All right, we have 1 minute. Jenny, is there anyone else that has like a burning anything to share? Otherwise, Jenny can close up.
I just want to say there is a question in the chat
Oh,
from Aaron. I don't know if you want to answer that.
yeah, let's see. I gotta, okay, how do I, does someone want to read me the question? I'm not able to.
I'll read it.
Thanks.
It says, you say, she's talking about food combinations, the one you mentioned specifically with protein and carbs together. What does that mean exactly? Like in the meal completely?
Yeah. Okay. So when we eat proteins, our bodies create an alkaline enzyme to break that down. And when we eat starches, our body creates an acidic enzyme to break that down. And so if you can think about starch and protein coming into your body together, our body is still going to release the alkaline enzyme and the acidic enzyme. And what happens when we eat starches and proteins together is like the party's all there, right? Like everyone came, but the enzymes like cancel out a little bit. So the body doesn't have enough acid enzymes to break that food down. And in turn, it doesn't have enough alkaline enzymes to break it down. So really that's kind of the underlining of the food combination. And the thing with fruit as well is like, you're not supposed to eat fruit with any other foods except for vegetables. Vegetables are like all across the board, you can eat with anything. But the story with fruit is that if we eat, let's say that we eat some kind of meat, and that takes 3 to 4 hours to digest. Okay, so I eat my meal, I eat my meat, and then for dessert, I'm like, I'm gonna be really healthy tonight and have a fruit, like little bowl of fruit for dessert. What happens is that dessert takes about 15 to 30 minutes to digest, and then it gets sent down the tube, right? So either what happens is everything gets, when the fruit's done digesting, the tube opens and everything goes down into the normal process, and that protein didn't get enough time to digest, right? Or the flip side of that, which this is usually the case, and I've had this throughout my life, is that the protein still needs 3 to 4 hours and the fruit's done digesting, right? You can think of it as like a train. So the front caboose is the protein, and behind, because you ate the fruit afterwards, is the fruit. So the fruit is not going to move until the protein's digested, which is 3 to 4 hours, right? So this fruit has about 2.5 hours to ferment in your body before it gets down the chute. So this is kind of like the point of intersection where like candida starts. I've had candida most of my life. It's now balanced, but that's really where this starts, is with food combining, because things ferment behind the caboose and don't get the chance to go down. So does that answer a little bit? It's kind of like it can go down a thread of multiple things, but do you feel more clear?
I don't think she's on the call anymore.
Okay.
So with that, does that mean I cannot have a banana when I make my protein shake?
Yeah, so that's a thing that I've been personally researching. Do you use what kind of protein do you use?
I use this natural raw pea protein that I get from the local farmers market here in Encinitas.
Perfect. Yeah. So pea protein is totally fine because that's going to be more of a vegetable. So usually when you have like a vegan protein, you're totally fine. It's usually if you have, and there's still like a little bit of debate with like animal protein in smoothies. But for the most part, like pea protein is what I use, and I've gotten a green light from multiple different health coaches. So yeah, that's all good there.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, so I'd love to just close up the space, letting each of us close our eyes. If you want to put a hand on your heart, analyzing your body and your being. Maybe there was even some cleansing, detoxing that happened throughout this call, things that you got rid of and created space for new things to come in, new sparks of interest. And witnessing the subtle cleansing and healing that has happened just within this call. Realizing that the vitality of our life, of our health, can come through words, can come through listening, sharing. And taking a moment to offer yourself gratitude for showing up for yourself, showing up on this call, and also just every single day and moment showing up for yourself, in your body, your mind, your spirit, and those around you. Taking a breath through the nose, feeling this prana, this life enter your body, and exhaling into a more balanced state each and every moment. Allowing your eyes to open, maybe taking a moment to look at the faces that are on this screen. And just deep gratitude for everyone showing up and sharing. I think the biggest thing with these calls is like when people have the humility and vulnerability and willingness to share their stories. So thank you so much for participating in this and in your life. Thank you. And for, I guess, to share too, for anyone that's interested in following my work or connecting to me, I go by Earth as Healing. I'm currently redoing my website, so it's not available right now. But Jenny, would you be able to just type in Earth as Healing in the chat if anyone that wants it? I'm on Instagram. You can connect with me there for now until my website's up and going. And yeah, all things Ayurveda, nature, relation, and cycling too. So thank you, Jenny, for all your work and organizing of this. Really appreciate you as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nikki. That was so profound, so beautiful. I think everybody really enjoyed it from what I can tell. Shaking heads, yes. Amazing. It's so amazing. So for those of you who aren't here, I'm going to be emailing this recording. I just need the day to upload it to YouTube, and then I'll send it out. So you can refer back to it, look at the slides if you like. And thank you so much, Nikki. And thank you everyone for showing up today. And I pray that you have a most beautiful Friday, and we'll all stay in the loop together because there will be more, my friends. Sending love.
Thank you.
Wow.